This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6, and it reads, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Makakadash. Shalom to the elders, the Christian worship sincerely, and shalom to the Akim, scattered in 4 corners of the globe, Christian word, truth and sincerity as well too. And I say shalom to the Akim out there. And this is a sit-down lesson, as the scripture that I just brung out in Matthew's the 24th verse 6 chapter of the wars and rumors of wars. And this is a prime example of this news article that I'm about to bring out. This is from ArabNews.com, and it reads, "NATO ready to defend against Moscow or Minsk." Stoltenberg's mentioned the Hague, Netherlands. It says NATO is ready to defend itself against any threats from the Moscow or Minsk alliance. Chief Jens Stoltenberg said Tuesday after Belarus welcomed Wagner rebel leader Yevgeny brings them into exile. Stoltenberg said NATO would agree to strengthen its defense at a key summit in Lithuania next week in order to protect all members, especially those while borders Russia ally Belarus. It says it's too early to make any final judgments about the consequences of the fact that Perlensin has moved to Belarus, and most likely also some of its forces will also be located in Belarus. Stoltenberg told reporters, which is absolutely clear, is that we have sent a clear message to Moscow and to Minsk that NATO is there to protect every ally and every inch of NATO territory, he said after a dinner with seven nations leaders, national leaders in the Hawks. It says, so no room for misunderstanding in Moscow and Minsk about the ability to defend the allies. It says, so no room for misunderstanding. It says, in the Moscow Minsk about our ability to defend its allies against any potential threat against this is regardless of what you think about the movement of the Wagner forces. Continuing on with the reading, it says Lithuanian President Grashnas, if I pronounce his name right, it says warrant that of the risk of Wagner fighters being based in Belarus. If Wagner deploys its serial killers in Belarus, all neighboring countries face the greater danger and the stability of the, he told the news conference. It says mercenary boss have arrived in Belarus on Tuesday at the dramatic weekend. It says right after a dramatic weekend. It says mercenary forces arrived in Belarus on Tuesday after a dramatic weekend revolting by Wagner fighters that pose the biggest threat of Russia is President Vladimir Putin's rule. Presnahe, a former criminal ally and catered to contract to build Russia's most powerful private army and recruiting thousands of prisoners to fight in Ukraine. Stoltenberg added that most not underestimating Russia despite the chaos at the weekend. He said it was crucial to keep supporting Ukraine against Russia invasion, and the NATO allies will thrash out a path to Korea's membership of the alliance. The Dutch Prime Minister, Mark refute who hosts the then rejected Putin's claim that the West wanted Russia to kill each other. It says, I refute what Putin suggested yesterday that we in the West wanted Russia to descend in domestic chaos. On the contrary, instability in Russia creates instability in Europe, he said. And I'm going to bring up that scripture again. And this is another additional note to that, a reminder that not too long ago, Russia was sending actual threats to NATO. You know, if NATO send troops over to their location where they have their borders of their soldiers at as well too. Right along with the additional what that took place of that Wagner situation, you know, add that to an additional note as well too. So this is Matthew 24 verse 6. I'm gonna read it again for edification's sake. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see that ye be not troubled. Right, the wars and rumors of wars, Russia versus NATO and its allies and its armies. That's a rumor of war. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but then it's not yet. So with that, hopefully this lesson was edifying. I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Ba'Kadash. Shalom to the elders for preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Hakim scattered through 4 corners of the globe, which the word truthfully and sincerely as well too. And until next time, I'll say shalom.